Hello, welcome to this short video looking at how the new brick system forecasts values in an increasing margin situation. I am currently looking at development Windy Meadows Phase 6. I can see here from my overall values of my forecast I have a valuation of £10 million with £4 million of land costs and £3 million of build costs, simply set up to give me a 30% margin. If I look at how I have forecast this to date, my actuals I have taken at 30%, and the system then is clearly also forecasting the remaining values at a 30% margin also. So what I want to investigate is how the new system will behave when the margin increases for the forecast. So one easy way of showing this is to come back and enter a new valuation for this development and phase. Let's do that. So if I leave the number of units the same, but to show the point I'm going to increase the margin significantly whilst retaining the same land and build costs from previously. So we can now see the effect of this new valuation would be to push my margin from its previous value of 30% to a new value of nearly 42%. Let's add that into the system and go back into my forecast. What I can now see is that while the actuals clearly haven't changed and are running at a 30% margin, Bricks is working in the same way as the old brick system did, in that for the forecast it's simply using the remaining averages per unit in the forecast, which means I'm now running at a forecast margin of 45.6%. This is different and higher than the valuation margin of about 42%. In old bricks, to remedy this, you would have needed to push the automatic after period for the columns forward and entered manual figures. New bricks allows group rules to be applied automatically without the need of this manual intervention. We can now see a new option has appeared on the screen whereby the system is telling me it has detected an increasing margin situation. It is simply comparing the actual margin taken to date to the forecast margin that the system has calculated, and clearly here we can see it is increasing. However, what the system also allows me to do is apply some group policy whereby I can now choose to take the extra profit over a limited number of periods. So for example, I could say I want to take this extra profit over 2 periods, and what we will then clearly see the system do, all but the final 2 periods of the forecast will now be locked at a margin percentage which is equivalent to the margin percentage from the most recent valuation record. However, the remaining extra profit will then be taken in the final 2 periods as I have selected here. Now I can elect to take that remaining profit within the last 1, 2 or 3 periods, as we can see. The way the profit is calculated is the revenue is worked out still on a per unit average, and the cost land and cost build is reapportioned in the same ratio as from the valuation record. And then the extra profit is simply applied in the remaining periods. If for any reason I do not wish to apply group policy and would rather bricks simply forecast based on the remaining values, I can do this by selecting that I want the profit to be taken in the last 999 periods. And again, you can see what will happen is that will have the impact of saying work like the old brick system used to. I hope that clarifies how the new system works, and also hopefully how it will now make forecasting future sites easier by allowing you to quickly and easily apply group policy in an increasing margin situation. Thank you for your time.